Moving on to the electoral system in Egypt. How can we elect and choose the members of the House of Representatives, and how the President of the state is he elected? First of all, we're going to talk about the House of Representatives. Number one, the elections of the House of Representatives. The election is based on 420 seats according to the individual system and 120 seats according to the closed absolute list system. This means that we basically have two systems of election. The majority of the election, which is the 420 seats, is made according to the individual system, which means each potential member of the House of Representatives, a person who is going to be elected to the seat only by his own, is not related to a certain party, and 120 seats according to closed absolute list system. This is made by a certain party who is going to make a certain list to have seats in the House of Representatives, and they represent 120 seats. The elections also provides for the number of Christians, workers and peasants, youth, handicapped Egyptians residing abroad, and the minimum of women that must be contained in each list. So here we include certain minimum number of certain category of people must be present and represented in the House of Representatives. How can a certain potential member in the election pass and be an actual member in the House of Representatives? By simple majority. So simple majority is required for the elections. The candidates for elections to House of Representatives. What are the conditions required and must be fulfilled for a candidate in order to be able to run for the elections of the House of Representatives? Number one, which is a very logic condition, he must be Egyptian. Number two, he must have civil and political rights. This means that this person mustn't have any criminal record, or must have been in jail, or mustn't have been deprived from his civil and political rights. He must be sane, doesn't suffer from any mental illness. Number three, must be inscribed in the list of voters. He must include his name in the list of voters in order to be able to get voices from the voters. Must not be less than 25 years old. There is a condition limited related to the minimum age of the candidate, and as we are going to notice, if we are going to compare it later with the president, here the youth are going to be encouraged. This is why 25 years old is a condition here. Must hold at least the certificate of basic education, must at least fulfill a certain condition related to his education, and basic education in Egypt is considered up to prep school. Must have performed his military service or was legally exempted from it. Option number one, either he has fulfilled his military service or he wasn't subject to this military service. His previous membership of the House of Representatives has not been cancelled, so he wasn't been blocked or removed before from the House of Representatives. Once this candidate has been elected in the House of Representatives, what's going to be his duration and term? The term of membership is 5 years. Okay, so he is going to be part of the House of Representatives for 5 years, up to another new voting of House of Representatives. The election 60 days before the end of term. So whenever the term of the House of Representatives ends, 60 days before this term, we must have new elections in order to make sure that we are not going to have a huge gap between the old House of Representatives and the new one. Formation. The Constitution of 2014 composed of not less than 450 members elected by direct, secret, public ballot. So we have here a minimum required of the members who are the representatives of people in the Parliament of Representatives. Their number cannot be less than 450 members. They will be elected by direct secret public ballot. If any of you have attended any sort of this election, then you go through a secret public ballot, which means no one is going to be able to see the paper you selected the member you are going to choose, and you're going to put it in a box. The president may appoint not more than 5% of the members. So also the constitution gives the president the right to name and to select 5% of the members of the current House of Representatives, but with certain conditions to be fulfilled. Number one, half of the appointed 5% by the president, they must be women. Number two, this decision of appointment has to be published in the official gazette. So whenever the president is going to choose some member in the House of Representatives, this must be published in the official gazette. Appointed members have the same rights and obligations as the elected members, so they are equal in rights and obligation as the 420 seats elected by the people. Same condition also applies to them with regard to the candidate's conditions and the duration and so on. Moving on to the election of the President of the Republic. The Constitution provides for the rules relating to the election of the President of the Republic and the vacancy of his post as follows. The President of the Republic is the head of the state and the head of the executive authority, and we agreed on this part in the previous lectures and tutorials when we took the three authorities that exist in a country: the executive authority, that includes the President, and then the Prime Minister, and then the government. So we agreed before that the President of the Republic is at the top of the executive authority. He shall care for the interests of the people, safeguard the independence of the nation and the territorial integrity and safety of its lands, abide by the provisions of the Constitution, and assume his authorities as prescribed in it. The President of the Republic shall be elected for a period of 6 calendar years, commencing from the day following the termination of the term of his predecessor, and the president may only be re-elected once. So here is the term of the president of the state. According to our current constitution, he is going to be president for a period of 6 years, and then we are going to have another election. He might be renewed for another 6 years. The procedures for electing the President of the Republic shall be initiated at least 120 days prior to the end of the presidential term. So here, before the term of the old President of the Republic ends, we must have a new election so that we cannot suffer later on from a gap of an interim period where we do not have the President. The result must be announced at least 30 days prior to the end of such term. The President of the Republic may not hold any party position throughout his presidential term. So whenever he becomes president, he is not allowed, this president, to become a member of any party in the country. So what are the conditions required for running for presidency? Number one, a presidential candidate must be Egyptian, born to Egyptian parents. So this is a very important condition. Not that he must be Egyptian, no, also his parents should also be Egyptians. Number two, neither he or his parents or his spouse may have held any another nationality. So his parents or spouse, they also cannot have another nationality in addition to the Egyptian one. This condition is very important to be sure from the loyalty of this presidential candidate. Number three, he must enjoy his civil and political rights. as I told you before, for the House of Representatives, he cannot suffer from mental illness, have any criminal record before. He must have performed the military service or have been exempted therefrom by law. He shall not be less than 40 calendar years of age on the day of commencing candidacy registration. Other requirements for candidacy shall be set out by law. So here there's a condition related to the minimum age, which is older than the House of Representatives, as this post is very, 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 very sensitive and has a huge impact on the state. This is why we assume that we want someone older who will be wiser. 40 calendar years of age is a very important condition. To be accepted as a candidate for the presidency, the candidate must receive the recommendation of at least 20 elected members of the House of Representatives. Or to be accepted as candidate for the presidency, the candidate must receive the support from at least 25,000 citizens enjoying the right to vote in at least 15 governorates, with a minimum of 1,000 supporters from each governorate. And in all cases, no one can support more than one candidate as regulated by the law. So what number 6 and number 7 conditions mean? This means for a candidate for presidential post, if he wants to be a candidate for presidency, he must either option number 1 get 20 elected members recommendations. Okay, so he is going to the House of Representatives, and at least from 20 elected members in the current House of Representatives, they must recommend this candidate for presidency. So this is option number 1. Option number 2 is he cannot get option number 1, then he is going to get endorsements and supports from at least 25,000 citizens in Egypt who are going to do support and endorsement, and these 25,000 must be from at least 15 different governorates in Egypt, and each governorate cannot have endorsement less than 1,000 in order for him to be accepted as a potential candidate to run for presidency. The procedures for electing the president. The President of the Republic shall be elected by direct secret ballot with an absolute majority of valid votes. The same applies here like the House of Representatives elections. We are going to where we are going to elect according to our place in a room where we have a direct secret ballot. We have to choose among the potential candidates of presidency, and we are going to select the name. It will be secret ballot. No one is allowed to check your paper that you are going to put in the box. How is he going to pass? With an absolute majority of valid votes. Procedures for electing the President of the Republic are specified in law. So the other conditions related to the election of the President will be explained by the law. The President of the Republic shall take the oath before the House of Representatives. So when this candidate will pass the majority of valid votes, he is going to have the oath before the House of Representatives. What are the procedures required if the President wants to resignate or there's vacancy of his post? In case of the absence of the House of Representatives, the oath shall be taken before the General Assembly of the Supreme Constitutional Court. So if the President came, and was elected, and he must have an oath, and for a reason, if the House of Representatives was dissolved at this moment, then he is going to do the oath before the Supreme Constitutional Court. The President of the Republic may submit his resignation to the House of Representatives, and if the House is not standing, he shall submit it to the General Assembly of the Supreme Constitutional Court. So whenever this President wants to resignate, he must submit his resignation to the House of Representatives. But in case the House of Representatives wasn't there, he was absent, then the resignation will be given to the Supreme Constitutional Court. In case the President of the Republic is temporarily prevented from assuming his authorities, the Prime Minister shall act in his place. So the Constitution states, for any reason, if the President of the Republic cannot do and accomplish his functions and his work, then the Prime Minister is going to act in his place. If the President's post becomes vacant due to his resignation, death, or permanent inability to work, the House of Representatives shall announce the vacancy of the post. If such last vacancy is attributable to any other reason, such announcement shall be made by a majority of at least 2/3 of the members of House of Representatives. The Speaker of the House of Representatives shall temporarily assume the authorities of the President of the Republic. So if the President cannot proceed with his work for a reason of inability, then the House of Representatives is going to announce that there's a vacancy in his post. And this must be decided by at least 2/3 of the member of House of Representatives. And then the Speaker of the House of Representatives will be representing and filling the post of the President up to having new elections of the President. Okay, so in a worst case scenario, in case the House of Representatives wasn't standing, so the General Assembly of the Supreme Constitutional Court and its chairman shall replace the representatives and its speaker with respect to the above. So they are going to substitute the function of the House of Representatives to the Senate. In all events, a new president must be elected within a period not exceeding 90 days as of the date of vacancy. So whenever the post of the president becomes vacant, whether it's the House of Representatives who will handle this or the Constitutional Supreme Court, in maximum 90 days we should be having new elections and we should have a new president. The interim president may not run for presidency. The interim president is the one who will be temporarily replacing the president when his post is vacant. He is not allowed to run for presidency or request any amendment of the Constitution or dissolve the House of Representatives or dismiss the government.
Now we will move to classwork, to what you just heard in the tutorial. First question. The candidate for House of Representative election can be Egyptian holding another nationality. The answer is false. The candidate for House of Representatives, to be a member in the House of Representatives, you cannot hold any other nationality. You must be Egyptian. Second question. The minimum age of House of Representative candidate is 30 years. False. The minimum age of the member in the House of Representatives is 25 years old. You cannot be less than 25 years old. Third question. The term of membership of candidate of House of Representatives is 5 years. True. And elections must be held 60 days before the end of term, meaning that if you are a candidate, if you are a member in the House of Representatives or the Parliament, and your membership, before your membership ends, the new elections will be held 60 days before the end of the membership. Question number 4. The President of the state is elected for a period of 4 calendar years. True or false? False, as the presidential elections, the presidential period is 6 years, not 4. As per Article 140, after the new amendments in 2019, extended the presidential term to 6 years, meaning that the president membership is now, or term will end in 2024, and allowing him also to run for re-election, meaning that he can serve or he can stay in office until 2030. Question number 5. The president can be re-elected once after the expiry of his first term. True. The president can be re-elected only once, meaning that he runs for elections that year, and if he was elected, he can stay for 6 years in office, and after that he can run for another elections for another term. Question number 6. A presidential candidate must be Egyptian, born to Egyptian parents. True. The presidential candidate must be Egyptian, born to Egyptian parents, and also his parents must be Egyptian, his wife must be Egyptian, that have no any other nationality. Question number 7. The presidential candidate minimum age is 30 years. False. The presidential candidate minimum age is 40 years. Question number 8. To be accepted as a presidential candidate, the candidate must get the recommendation of at least 10 of the elected members in the House of Representatives. True or false? The answer is false. One of the conditions to be accepted as a presidential candidate, to be able to run for elections, you must get the recommendation of at least 20 elected members of the House of Representatives, or you can get recommendations or support from at least 25,000 citizens. Now, question number 9. To be accepted as a candidate for presidency, you must receive 25,000 endorsements The answer is true. To be accepted as a presidential candidate, one of the conditions is to get or to receive at least 25,000 support from citizens, or what we call التوقيعات. 25,000 توقيع from citizens enjoying the right to vote, that they have their civil and political rights in at least 15 cities, with a minimum of 1,000 supporters from each. And in all cases, you cannot support, if you are a voter or a citizen, you cannot support more than one candidate. You have to choose only one candidate to support. Next question. Question number 10. If the president is prevented for a limited period of time from his work, the Prime Minister shall take his place. The answer is true. If the president cannot perform his work only for a limited period of time, or it's not permanently, then the Prime Minister will take his place. For example, if the president has to travel for a week, then the Prime Minister shall take his place for this week. Or if the president is ill for a limited, or we are expecting him to be better, then the Prime Minister will take his place till he gets better. Question number 11. If the president died, the Prime Minister can take his place. The answer is false. If the president died, it means that the vacancy is now empty forever. So if the vacancy is empty forever, the Prime Minister cannot take the president's place. But the Speaker of the House of Representatives shall take his place in this situation? Last question. If the president post is empty, a new president must be elected within 60 days. The answer is false. If the president post is empty, that the president passed away, or total health inability condition, in this case the post will be empty and the Speaker of the House of Representatives will take place. And in this case, a new president must be elected within 90 days, with a maximum of 90 days from the date of the passing of the president. Thank you. In the next question, complete the following. House of Representatives election is based on how many seats according to the individual system, and in the next question, the list system. In the House of Representatives or the Parliament, now we have two different systems, النظام الفردي ونظام القوائم. In the first one, the individual system, the election is based on 420 seats, and in the other system, the list system, it is based on 120 seats. Third question. The majority required for the House of Representatives election. Now you, as a voter, you go to vote in the elections of the House of Representatives. You have to choose a representative for your geographical location. So the majority required for this member to be elected is simple majority. 50% plus 1 from the voters must say yes. Okay, 50% plus 1 from the voters who have the right to vote, or from the voters who attended the elections. 50% plus 1 shall be from the voters who attended the elections, not the total number of the people who has the right to vote, who have the right to vote. Question number 4. The House of Representatives candidate must be inscribed or listed in the list of The answer is the list of voters. To be a candidate in the House in the House of Representatives or the Parliament, your name must be inscribed in the list of voters, meaning that you have the right to vote. You are enjoying your civil and your political rights, so you can be a candidate. Question number 5. The House of Representatives candidate must hold at least the certificate of education, to be a candidate for the House of Representatives, you must hold at least the certificate of basic education. Previously, before the new constitution, the only condition was that the candidate must be able to read and write. يعني معناها إنه يبقى معاه محو أمية. After the amendment, he must hold a basic education certificate. Question number 6. The House of Representatives minimum number The House of Representatives minimum number is 450 member according to the Constitution. Question number 7. The results of president elections must be announced at least at least 30 days before the end of such term, and the elections itself must be held at least 120 days before the end of the current president term. Question number 8. President must enjoy President must enjoy his civil and his political rights. Question number 9. The president must be elected by direct secret ballot, meaning that you go by yourself or you go directly by yourself to the elections and you find a paper that you choose from. You choose one of the candidates by yourself.